And I'm like, why am I doing this profession? Why are people so incredibly awful? Kind of went into a depression. And during that time, I was watching a lot of YouTube, ended up falling upon this little angry leprechaun of a man named Gary Vaynerchuk. And he started talking about not a lot of real estate agents were using YouTube to promote themselves. But I was like, well, I'm an idiot. I can grab a camera and I can start doing videos. And he said, because it's the perfect way to attract the client that you want. That one decision, that one push from somebody was the one thing that changed my life, my business, my YouTube channel, the way I create videos, everything forever. Pick up a camera and tell people what you know. Don't be a dingleberry and talk about yourself the whole freaking time. Just show them what you know about your market. And sure enough, amazingly enough, people are like, dang, that person's smart. They're saying what I think. I think I'm going to call them. It actually works.
Welcome back to our Successful Agent series, where we feature real estate agents doing big things in real estate. In each episode, we cover the starting point of their real estate journey to really understand what it takes to build a real estate business from the ground floor to the penthouse. Today, we sit down with Kristina Smallhorn, an absolute legend in real estate YouTube. She has over 265,000 YouTube subscribers and is about to hit 50 million views, which is all content on real estate, which is absolutely crazy and makes Kristina's YouTube channel a top 5 channel as a realtor created YouTube channel. Now you're going to really enjoy the conversation because she is so open with her information. Everything that she's learning, she's turning around and sharing it with real estate agents. And in the following conversation, you're going to see that she holds nothing back. She's going to share with you how to get more exposure, how to get more views and grow your YouTube channel. But she's also going to share how to go beyond the commission check and build a sustainable real estate business where you and your family are not going to be at the mercy of that next commission check coming in. And I really hope that you enjoy listening to this successful agent. All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, I have the distinct pleasure. And when I say absolute pleasure, I mean that to the fullest extent of having none other than Kristina Smallhorn on the channel. She is YouTube royalty. She's somebody that has pioneered this space, and I can see her already shaking her head, but she just needs to accept it. But I know I'm going to make her more and more uncomfortable as I continue elongating this intro for her. So I'm going to flip the script real quick. And Kristina, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you got into real estate, and then we'll get going. I am very excited for this, as the audience already saw the intro to this. I'm very excited about this, and you're going to see why here in a little bit.
All right. My name is Kristina Smallhorn. I've been in real estate ever since 2007, the start of the worst housing market in history. I became a real estate agent because, I had a terrible transaction. I had a good transaction when I sold my house, had a terrible transaction when I was buying a house in a new area. And I found out how much that dude made. And I was like, that guy was pathetic. And if that is what it takes to be a real estate agent, I'm gonna do what that guy does, And then of course I found out afterwards it was a lot more work than I anticipated. But still, don't excuse the guy for giving me crappy service. So after that, I found out through because it was a terrible market. I did the whole foreclosure short sale thing. That's how I kind of built my business. And after that, I had a really terrible transaction. Then I got into video. So we could talk a little bit more about that if you want to.
I dig it. Let's start at the beginning real quick. Well, actually, you already started that. I wanted to follow up because I always find this next question pretty interesting with all of our guests. Are you the first real estate agent within your family, or did somebody in your family, was somebody already in the business, or are you what I call the first generation agent?
I think I'm the first generation agent, but there's always been somebody in sales, some sort of sales. That's always been something that my dad was the director of sales for John Hancock Mutual Life Insurance. He did that for forever. So, and then in his family, they were in sales. They owned a It's still there, by the way. It was called Mellinger's Liquors in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they distributed alcohol. And it's still there, still named that, by the way. So there's always been some kind of sales aspect in our family. It wasn't necessarily real estate.
Awesome. I don't know why I gravitate towards that question. It's something that I ask our agents as our team is growing. It's really one of the first questions that I ask, because it really helps frame at least the awareness in many cases of what it actually takes before you're in the business, right? So the sales component is right along with what a real estate agent does. So that's really where the question comes from. I think it says a lot about their expectations. It really sets the tone to really at least try to get as many context clues before, working with somebody. But speaking of working with somebody, you mentioned that you got into the industry because of such a terrible transaction. Mm-hmm. What was your first transaction like? How did you generate that client, and how did the transaction go?
Okay. So, when you first start out, I had this broker, and she's like, you have to do open houses. You have to do open houses. Biggest waste of time in my opinion, biggest waste of time. So you'd sit there for, 4 hours, and you hope to the gods that somebody would, come to your open house. This is pre internet, and she's like, well, you have to advertise it. I'm like, advertise it what, with some balloons and some flags? I mean, and then half the people that come into those things in my small town, it's everything's location oriented, but in my small town, they would, they would come in just because they wanted to see what the neighbors had decorated their house. They could have cared less. They're not shopping for a house. And then some people would fake it. They'd sign in, they put fake email addresses and phone numbers, fake names. Like to me, I was like, this sucks. 4 hours of my day sitting there in this lawn chair, because we weren't allowed to sit on their furniture, waiting and hoping that somebody came in. Finally, I get a phone call because I had to answer the phone call at this open house saying that they wanted to come see it. I'm like, matter of fact, I'm at the open house right now. I'll keep it open. They came in. They were a young couple. They had recently gotten married. She had some kids. They were looking for a house, but she had filed bankruptcy. And so it was going to be really difficult for them to find a house. So we got them with a lender. That lender didn't work out. It was awful. And so we find her another lender, which was perfect. I mean, honestly, the best thing that could have happened was the bad thing, because it really helped her, the woman who had the bankruptcy, have a better transaction all the way around. But the agent on the other side, it was literally the biggest jerk. He knew I was new, and he was going to rake me over the coals, and he did. And every time I see that guy, every time I see him post anything, and he's super snarky, super sarcastic, and all the other agents for some reason fall all over this dude. I'm like, he is a jackass, like total jackass. But I'll never forget him. The seller was weird. The agent was a jerk. The first lender was a jerk, and the clients were really nice. To this day, they still own that house. She has moved on with her marriage. Her children have moved out, but she's kept the house. So it's hers now. But yeah, that was my first transaction. I remember the one thing I do remember clearly, though, is that I was showing her new constructed houses, and they didn't give me the contractor key because they for some reason they just didn't give me the contractor key, and most of the doors were like open and stuff. And I'm wearing a dress, a black dress, and I was crawling underneath garage doors that were open about this much to open the front door to let them in. And my dress was like covered, and they were like, "You don't have to do that." I'm like, "Yeah," but I was so eager to sell a house. Like I have to sell. Once I get that first house, I just thought, once I get that first house, everything else will be smooth sailing. And I learned so much through that whole entire transaction. Like I talked too much, like I was saying too much to the selling agent. So that gave him ammunition to make the transaction more uncomfortable. I recommended the wrong lender from the beginning, like I learned so much from that transaction. in my brain, I'm like, these people are never going to talk to me again. And they just love me, they loved me. Of course, you didn't let them know, like, this is the very first host I ever sold. Never said that to them. Absolutely not. So, what's it?
As the audience can tell, I'm going to have a hard time getting you to open up and share exactly what you think, as the audience can already tell. But something else the audience already knows is that, like you mentioned, after that first house, it's smooth sailing from there, or, that's the belief. But you'll do anything for that first closed house. I sold my first house. It was a listing. Don't get excited because I sold it for free. So I charged $0. It cost me money to sell that house, but it was, of course, for that experience. And to this day, we're good friends. Shout out Tom, if you're listening. So it's interesting. But transitioning into, you mentioned it a little while ago, there was a terrible transaction, I believe, that led you to a path that really opened up so many different opportunities in the form of YouTube. So what was that transaction like, or how did you arrive at YouTube? And at this point, again, the audience knows relatively the huge success that you've had on YouTube, and a majority of them are here. So let us know in the comments section down below that you are. What led to YouTube? What was the transition into YouTube like? And what were some early struggles?
So fast forward 10 years, so it was 2000, it was fast forward 9 years. It was the end of 2016. I was working with a couple that, how like they always say, there's two people that are always meant for each other. And literally the two worst human beings on the planet found each other and got married and found me as their real estate agent. These people were the kind of people that sucked the oxygen out of the room as soon as they walked into it. I honest God, that even the whole entire time, literal anxiety, panic attacks, because they were just disgusting humans. And when we get to the closing table, he was one of the people that sit there at the closing table and read every single line all the way down. And then he would question things that I had already counseled him on endlessly. And I nearly burst into tears because we had gone over this one thing so many times. And that was, I forgot what it is now, but we had gone over it so many times that I was just like, I know what it was. At the end of a transaction here in the state of Louisiana, you own the house. You've already gone through your inspection period. Once you sign these papers, anything that happens to the house, it belongs to you. It's as is, period, unless they withheld information that was pertinent to the house that, was withheld during the transaction period and they knew about it and you could prove it. I've said those words so many times that it was like it came out of my mouth instantly, right? We get to that section of page 87 in the loan documents, and he looks up, looks over it to me, gives me a snarky smile, and then looks over to the attorney and says, "Can you explain this to me, please, this as is clause?" Because he thought he was going to get me on this. That feeling with the blood just boiling over, like it was, I could feel it raising up and my hair standing straight up on end. And I'm like, I hate this career. I mean, don't get me wrong. I quit real estate every single day, but this day I was ready to nuclear bomb it. Right. I closed it at 10:30 in the morning. Right. It finally closed after an hour and 27 minutes of sitting in this closing table because he had to read every single line. The attorney literally spits back verbatim what I had told him 1,000 times, and he still continues to do what he's doing. And I'm shaking. Like, finally, it's over with. 10:30 in the morning, I go to my house, I crack open a beer, and I'm drinking it because. And I'm like, why am I doing this profession? Why are people so incredibly awful? I kind of went into a depression. And during that time, I was watching a lot of YouTube, ended up falling upon this little angry leprechaun of a man named Gary Vaynerchuk. And he started talking about how at that time, not a lot of real estate agents were using YouTube to promote themselves. He said he had this whole thing about the digital mayor thing, which I did, which doesn't work, by the way. But I was like, well, I'm an idiot. I can grab a camera and I could start doing videos. And he said, because it's the perfect way to attract the client that you want. And I'm like, that makes total sense. If I can be entertaining, educational, and people get to see me first, so they call me, that makes more sense to me than me sitting there begging for their business. So I started making videos because I'm a dork. I did these I do listing videos, but they were always like goofy. Like one was like The Price is Right. I was like, what's the price? And I was wearing a dress and a wig and the whole stupid thing, and I'd open up how like The Price is Right. Those women used to do that. I did one of those listing videos. I did one where the little girl is in the backseat of the car picking her nose and being obnoxious. I've done so many like goofy listing videos, but people loved them in my area. Absolutely loved them. So I was doing that on Facebook, and I was also doing the digital mayor thing where you go around and go to different businesses and interview them about their hamburgers. Does not give you real estate business. I don't give a poop what real estate coach tells you it does. It does not. Does not. It's a lie. Big waste of your time. So then Facebook changed their freaking algorithm, like those videos were doing just fine on their own on my business page. People were sharing them. It was funny. The community loved them. And then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, somebody pulled the plug and said, hey, you want these videos to be found? You're going to have to pay to play. And I'm like, that is stupid. I'm not paying anybody to watch my videos. That is dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. So I'm like, well, let me look into YouTube. Gary Vee was on YouTube. And I tried to find other real estate agents at that time that were on YouTube. I swear to God, when I tell you, I think there was 10 real estate agents on there. I like totally blew my mind, one of them was, and they all had videos that had 10,000 views. And I think there were some of them were at 10,000 subscribers. I was like, oh, I'll never get there, but wow, And so I started watching them and studying them. And I really but I knew this was the right path because I had put out a total of 5 videos on YouTube. And a guy from Utah called me and said, hey, I was just looking up the area because my company's moving us there. And he's like, I saw that you had all these videos about the area. And he's like, I figured you knew a lot about it. Can you help us find a house? And at that time, that was the biggest house I had ever sold. And I was like, I'm doing video forever, I'm doing video forever just because he found that those first 5 videos on YouTube of me walking around talking about new construction with a GoPro and a stick. Walking around, there was a terrible audio quality, terrible. So that was on another channel. But then I started my other the channel where I was kind of going to have a show. Was I was calling it Coffee Talk, where we talked about real estate and stuff. That didn't work. Did the digital mayor thing. That didn't work. Started interviewing people in the area. That didn't work. And so I started looking at YouTube a little bit differently in the fact that local content in a very small town wasn't going to be enough. I needed something more. And it just so happened I was on, I don't know if you know who Nick Nimmin is. Do you know who that is?
I do. He's got a brother.
D Nimmin.
Yep.
So I was on one of their live streams. They had a go to Vid Summit, and I had seen a thing about this Vid Summit thing where it was a place for creators, not fans, to talk about building their YouTube channels. And I was like, oh, I really want to go to that. I should go to that. But it was in California. It was kind of expensive, hotels. But then they had a contest, and it was make a short ad for Vid Summit so you can win a free ticket. And I was like, I wasn't going to do it. I had a friend talk me into it. You know, I'm goofy. So everybody makes these like, the submissions come in big, epic, you know, like drone shots, people with these emotions, you know, like, oh, all this is coming through on Vid Summit, you know, like it was just like these cinematic movie short films about Vid Summit. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. And my friend was like, you're going to do it, because my idea was to make an infomercial, you know, with my goofy wig and being totally stupid. And he's like, you got to do it. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to do it. It wins. And the top prize, not only do you get a ticket, you get a 1-hour consultation with Daryl Eves. And so I took that opportunity. And that one decision, that one push from somebody was the one thing that changed my life, my business, my YouTube channel, the way I create videos, everything forever. I learned more from that Vid Summit conference in that year than I ever did at any real estate conference I had been to in 10 years. Like, I had realized how much time and money I had thrown down the toilet because of things that were sold to us as real estate agents at these conferences. Total horse garbage. So angry, so incredibly ticked that, first of all, that like they're allowed to sell that crap and they're not vetted beforehand at those conferences. And we're trusting in the fact when we buy this ticket that they have done that. We get swindled a lot. We're $500 to death. And when I went to that conference, I was like blown away. And I knew I was going to change my business. And I did. I changed it forever. And thank God I did. Because I don't really technically have to sell a house anymore. You know, I have not picked up a car key to get in the car to sell a house. I actually just turned in my lease and I bought a $2,000 car. Do you know how relieving that is? That I know that I don't have to drive clients around or impress people with the car I drive anymore. I bought a cube, a $2,000 cube, 2009, just over 100,000 miles on it. I was going to say square feet. Real estate.
Real estate's deep. Real estate runs deep.
Yeah, but 100,000 miles on it, and it's mine, and I can do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about a shopping cart hitting it. I don't have to worry about turning in the lease. I don't have to worry about going over mileage. None of that garbage anymore. But I still sell houses, but just not in the traditional way that, you know, or I get in a car and have to sit at open house and fill out flyers and, you know, knock on doors, which is for a woman. Why do they suggest this? You know, I want you to go door knocking in a neighborhood in this crazy freaking world. Are you out of your mind? I had a friend that just started with a brokerage and that's what they want her to do. I said, oh, absolutely not. You are not doing that. You're going to pick up a camera and you're going to reach more people on a camera than you did knocking around on that freaking, putting your life in jeopardy, by the way, because people are out of their mind. Everybody's on some kind of medication. Everybody, whether it's a vitamin, a probiotic, they're on something. And who knows as how it's going to react to them when they answer the door. No, don't do it.
There you go. Public service announcement, Kristina Smallhorn. Which I agree, by the way. Let's talk timelines, because not that everyone, for one, no one's going to be able to replicate the success that you've had.
Baloney. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do that. Like, there's nothing special about what I did.
Well, let's talk timelines, though. Well, let's talk timelines, and we can agree to disagree there, because you know how highly I think of you. So you're not gonna take me off of that mindset in at least here in the next couple of minutes. You got onto YouTube around what year? If you've got the month on you, I'll take that as well. Like, when did you get on YouTube? Like, formal?
It was October of 2017, I believe, was my first video.
October 2017. Now, from that first gentleman that called you, like, how long did it take before that first call came?
6 weeks, maybe.
6 weeks. Awesome. Uh-huh. So after that 6 weeks, how long did it take before you went to Vid Summit and had that, transformation per se?
Well, I went to Vid Summit in October of 2019.
So 2 years after you started?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. So in those 2 years prior to this big shift, what was your relationship with YouTube like? Were you, hey, you know what, this is phenomenal, this is great, or hey, I'm just not seeing the growth. If I'm going to make a video here, if it works, great. If not, I'll try it again in 2 weeks or so. What was your relationship with YouTube within those 2 years?
I think people, like, at that time, there wasn't many real estate agents on YouTube. There really wasn't. There was so little people. So the fact that, like, I'm not getting subscribers and views, it wasn't even a thought process to me. I just was like, I was trying to find the videos that worked. That was it. Like, which ones are connecting, like, I had done one about an HOA, and that got me a lot of calls, a lot of listing calls, a lot of calls. And matter of fact, that HOA video is on a few people's websites, in our local area. So I was looking for those types of videos, the ones that really connected with, that was getting the phone to ring. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was just throwing spaghetti against the wall, and I was like trying to up my quality. I was editing my videos myself. So every week I was like teaching myself something new about editing, which was exciting for me. I'm kind of one of those people that I get like hyper fixated on things. So it was my hyper fixation for over 2.5 years, like, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn this. And so you could do, like, you'd see, like, I tried to learn how to, like, do the split screen where there's two of me, I did that thing. I would learn how to do good transitions. I used to put music on my videos, but I found out people hate music, by the way. Like, all these things I was teaching myself how to do. No one ever taught me. And I learned all from YouTube. And I was like, this is the best resource on the planet. I was just having so much fun. And it was like, I was having fun. It was creative marketing, and it was getting me what I wanted to do anyway, and it was getting the clients that I wanted, which was the best part about it, right? People would reach out to me that had known me for years and say, Kristina, I don't know, that last video you did, you're going to turn off a lot of people. And I'm like, freaking good. Like, and they were so shocked by that. I'm like, I don't want to have everybody. I only want to work with people that want to work with me, because it sucks to work with people that question every freaking thing you do, that sit there during a closing and read every single sentence and basically try to humiliate you that whole entire transaction. I never wanted to have that again. To this day, that guy has no idea that I can't stand him. He still calls me and asks me all sorts of questions. And I am tired of pretending, If he wasn't in the law field, I would never, ever, ever speak to that guy ever again. Like, ever, never, ever, 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 never, ever, 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 ever again.
Now I got to find this gentleman. I'm
like, I'm always kind of half afraid that he's going to hear one of these podcasts and he's going to go, that's me. But I think he's so arrogant and so stuck on himself. There's no way that he would know it's about him.
Kristina, what if I told you that in the waiting room we have, that would be really,
it wouldn't even matter.
Missed an opportunity. Well, let's talk about that monumental shift. Can you talk to us a bit? What are some things that either you were doing wrong that you fixed, or you were raised, you learned something at that, whether it was with Daryl, or at Vid Summit? What were some of those changes that you made on your YouTube channel to where it, ultimately where you're at right now? What were some big fundamental things that changed?
First was knowing who your audience is. Like, and everybody says that's like a buzz term, but I genuinely had no idea who was watching my videos. I didn't understand how to read analytics. YouTube has made it so much easier now, right? Before it was like, it was like reading an encyclopedia. It was very difficult to understand. So I didn't understand who was actually watching my videos. enjoyed answering comments in the comment section, but I wasn't putting that into perspective of who was actually watching my videos altogether. The other thing is I didn't really have a content strategy at all. I was just trying, like I said, I was just making videos, finding out what worked for some people. But so like I made that HOA video and I'm like, oh, that did really well. Right. I didn't know that in the future, I should probably make more HOA videos. No one ever told me that because there was no training out there. And I just kept hearing from real estate agents that were on YouTube. Oh, you just have to, you have to download keywords everywhere and you'll find the Google Trends. And then you put it in TubeBuddy and then vidIQ. And then you'll get those high word, long tail keywords to make your videos blow up. And I was doing all of that to the exhaustion, and it was all crap. That wasn't even true. It's not true. And it hasn't been true since 2007. The information that was given to us as real estate agents to build up our YouTube channels is antiquated, not true information since 2007. And they're regurgitating this garbage that will literally get you only so far. Only so far. You get and I still see it to this day where people want to believe that the money that they invested in some of these programs that are built for people to grow their social media sites is correct, that they've convinced themselves that it's working even when it's not. And I've had people in my own coaching group and they're trying to convince me. And I'm like, you're not getting any views. So I don't believe you. Because if no one's watching your stuff, how could you have that kind of business? Prove it to me. And you know what? I've had a few people just disappear because they know I like, it's a hard pill to swallow when you spent thousands of dollars on education to admit to yourself that it didn't work.
100%. We all in some way look for that confirmation bias, but when the confirmation isn't there to your bias, it becomes problematic.
I know, but some people they'll double down. They'll double down on
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
So crazy.
Speaking on that, because it's a conversation that we've had, off camera, even today, right before we got started, but something that we would have a conversation about. I would say, I wouldn't say very often, but when we do connect, the topic does come up. So I know that you're helping real estate agents right now. So I want to really focus on that. How are you helping agents at the moment? How can people, because you've been helping agents since day one, as you were learning yourself and implementing yourself. Anytime I've had a question, I know you've always just been so free with information, so helpful with information, just going deep in explaining kind of what you're learning along the way. So how are you helping agents right now? What does that look like?
Well, I have to tell you, I resisted making a course for so long because I'm tired of everybody $500 me to death. Another $5,000 here, $4,000 here, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't going to put a course together until I knew exactly what worked, right? And I resisted it for quite some time. I really resisted the whole idea of doing that because I genuinely want to help people because nobody would help me. And the people that were willing to help me and I paid for it gave me garbage advice, lies, pack of lies. They don't even know what they're talking. They are so convinced of their own baloney that you can't even talk to them about it because it's not whatever. Anyways, I get so mad.
You're very passionate about it. And again, we've had this conversation because it's real. And we've had this conversation. So this is not just let's all of a sudden, this is something that has been a passion of yours for the longest time in helping people. And you're being very generous with the $500 to death. We know that some of the programs out there are not $500. And
I saw one that was I think it was between $4,000 to $6,000. And I'm like, for what? For what? For what? And then I see this program's advertising and I'm like, ooh, that's a pack of lies. There's lies you're selling. I just think of that meme, with Will Ferrell. You sit on a throne of lies, because he was talking about Santa Claus. That's not the real Santa. That is not the real Santa. That is not a Daryl Eves program. Like such garbage. But I genuinely do want to help people. And it's always been that way from the get-go. Daryl Eves, who taught me everything I know, who has changed my life, said, you need to create this for real estate agents, because he was finding that people that were joining his program weren't quite ready for his specific program. They hadn't gotten to that point yet. And he was like, we need a jumping point. So I was always, me, I'm like, oh, I did it through Daryl Eves. I did it through Daryl Eves. And I was sending him tons of people, but they weren't ready to be a channel jumpstart yet. They just were not. They didn't have a good concept of YouTube yet to be in that program, because you've taken it, it's very advanced. So he said, I want you and my brother to get together, and I want you to create a channel jumpstart that is like, it's like a, what is it? Watered down version, basically. I basically brought it to just specifically real estate agents, right? So it's very centered around creating a business through YouTube with a real estate business aspect in mind. The other thing is that with my program, that's much different, is that everybody makes these things where it's just to get buyer and seller leads. And the market that we're heading into, the writing's on the wall. This party cannot last forever. And if you're making these videos, you might as well be making more money from the videos other than buying and selling a house. So I show people how you can take those videos and make even more money from them, not just from AdSense, but from other aspects of building your channel up. So you don't have, like, if you don't sell a house 1 month, you're not destitute, you're not going to worry about where your mortgage is coming from. So that's my program is different in the fact that I want people to look at these videos as so much more streams of income than just selling a house. So that's what I do.
I love that. So essentially, in a way, you're building a business. This isn't just, hey, make a YouTube video. This is
Correct.
Beyond that. This is more of a sustainable business. You mentioned earlier just the lifestyle that you're choosing. That it's a choice. It's not like you're forced into this lifestyle. You're choosing to create the lifestyle as a result of the success that you're having. So you haven't needed to, even though you could, but your desire is not to go and unlock a lockbox. That's not
ever again.
That's not part of your.
Do you know how hot it is here in Louisiana? Like, we had like 3 weeks in a row over 103, and we have high humidity. So it was like walking into a sauna every single day. There's so many things. I just sold all my lock boxes. I think I have 2 left. I sold my open house flags. I have all these signs still sitting in my garage, and I'm about to get rid of them, but they have the metal frames. So I'm probably going to sell the metal frames that go on the signs.
Well, you'll appreciate this. I have not shown a home in so long. Literally yesterday was the first. I didn't even show a home. It was just a video that I needed to make for B-roll. Mm-hmm. So I needed to get into a home. My showing time app, it didn't exist.
Oops.
So I don't know what happened. Apparently I missed the notice. My MLS app, it was discontinued, and it took forever to do the E key up. It took me about an hour to get into the home. Yeah. It was a beating. However, I got the B-roll, so mission accomplished. It's just so interesting that you mentioned that. Well, speaking in, like, as you're, let's stay here for a quick second. You're talking about your program. Yeah, so it's a course so people can watch and
another freaking course.
What's that?
Oh no, another freaking course.
Well, there's an element to that, but there's courses that change your life, and then there's courses that take your money.
I'll tell you one of the best compliments I've had from somebody that took my course. They canceled their coaching that they had been buying for the last 16 years. And they're like, everything I need to know is in your course. She's like, I'm canceling it. I've spent X amount for the last 16 years with this specific coaching program. And she's like, I don't need it anymore. You guys have really provided so much for us. I was like,
awesome.
Like I nearly cried, but that's how I felt when I that's how I felt when I went to Vid Summit and found all the different ways I can make income, and understanding the correct way to market, and understanding advertising so much differently, and how social media growth organically really works, and buying mailing lists and all this other stuff that I used to have this, I had an email campaign where I bought email lists of people in my area, and I was so many things I bought that was just so, it was almost sneaky, they never gave me their address, but I'm going to start bombarding them with a bunch of crap, These people didn't ask for their address to be out there, to be me to send them postcards, but there I am with my face. Just sold another one. What the hell?
What I really appreciate about you, I think it's overlooked, is you've mentioned, I know we've talked towards the last part of our conversation has been YouTube, and that's by design. It's in the thumbnail. Mm-hmm. But something that is, I don't want it to be overlooked. I think the common trait here is that you're tinkering with different things, you're adjusting, you're being flexible, you're being open-minded and exploring different things, right? So there's a lot of dead ends, as you highlighted a few, and I'm sure there's many more. Mm-hmm. But what you've been able to do is just try this, doesn't work. Okay, well, let's try it this way. Let's try that. Let's try mailing lists. Let's try this. So it's no surprise. And it didn't work
for me. I know there's some lady out there going,
a million percent
generated me over $2 billion in GCI. I know there's somebody that's out there just watching this and pissing that I'm just
they're not just out there consuming. I'm sure the comments already down there somewhere. Whatever. We'll deal with that there. I'll make sure.
Honestly, is the easiest thing when it comes to marketing. The easiest thing. Pick up a camera and tell people what you know. Don't be a dingleberry and talk about yourself the whole freaking time. Just show them what you know about your market. And sure enough, amazingly enough, people are like, dang, that person's smart. They're saying what and I'm thinking, I think I'm going to call them. It actually works. And honestly, but I'll say this, video marketing isn't for everybody, but video marketing is going to become a lot easier with AI. I actually just saw a thing at Vid Summit where they can take your videos, they can take your whole entire video. I don't speak Spanish, right? But the AI can make your mouth look like and sound in your own voice, in your own cadence of your voice, in Spanish, everything you just did in that video. So you could take all of your videos in your collection, post it to another channel, Kristina Smallhorn Espanol, and then all of a sudden it'll be all those same videos, but in Spanish. I didn't have to re-record that. I didn't have to pay for a dubbing service, none of that. And it looks like I'm saying it. They have it in Croatian. They have it in Arabic. They have it in, Scottish. You know, my friend is from Liverpool, England. He was like, "Do they have it in Scouse?" Which that's the group of people. They're called, Scouse people in Liverpool. And I was like, they should. That'd be funny. But
I can't wait for the Kristina Smallhorn en Espanol.
My husband's getting his license, and I don't know if you know this, but my husband's Colombian. So I'm going to do these videos, and he's going to take the leads, and he can sit there with a lockbox. He can put out a sign.
I didn't know that about. Okay.
He can do that. I'm not doing that. I put in my hours. I've checked in the card. I am not doing it anymore. Kristina says no. Yeah. But I think that every agent should really start looking into different creative ways. If you don't like being on camera, it's so much easier now than it's ever been. Another AI app that I saw that was really cool was you start reading these sentences in the app, and it starts training to your own voice. So then all of a sudden now it understands your voice and it has your voice down. So you can enter in your whole entire real estate script into it, right? And now it's going to spit that back out in audio form. Now you take that audio form and start putting B-roll images and charts and everything that supports what you're saying in your, now you've created a video. You didn't even speak the words. You didn't even speak the words, and the AI did it for you. And all you're doing is throwing B-roll images on top of it. There's no excuse at this point that you can't do it. And then the other excuse I hear all the time, which really ticks me off, is that they'll say, well, that's because, the only reason you have success is because you started when you did. I mean, there's no room for success in this space now. Are you out of your damn mind? There's people that go on viral for a baby fart in the car. Like, you could literally go viral for just about anything. All you have to do is try. I mean, yeah, of course it's not going to work if you never try. You're right. It will never work if it never work. But anybody can beat my numbers at any moment. Like, anybody could get my subscriber count and video view count overnight, creaming my numbers in 10.5 seconds. The doors are wide open. It isn't a club or a party or anything else. There isn't a imaginary wall that says, oh, well, because you didn't start in 2017, you can't make it. Baloney. I've told you this in the beginning. There was nothing that special about what I did that made it unachievable for anybody in the future. And that's why I teach people how to do it. And I tell them all the time, it'd be the biggest flex in the world if I could get one of my students to beat my numbers. Honest to God, I already have one student, third video came out, third one, over 30,000 views. I was like, what I'm talking about works. What I talk about works. And not only that, I showed him how to make money from that specific video, not just by selling, right? That's huge. That is huge. And that so is huge. He's like, my mind is wide open. He's like, I was so narrowly focused because all these things keep buying, selling, getting more leads, buying, selling, getting more leads, buying, selling, getting more leads. That's all we think about as real estate agents. And it's an open world. We have so many more opportunities to make money in the world that we live in now than we ever have. It doesn't just have to be buying and selling houses, because as you know, it can be very exhausting, very stressful. And it's not cut out for everybody. And there's moments in time where you're just like, I don't care if I never see another human being, a buyer's contract, a seller's contract, a inspection report again, right? Like I said, I've quit real estate every single day, sometimes 3 times a day. In my brain, I'm like, thank God I have all these other opportunities that I don't have to sell a house anymore. I don't have to. I'm very fortunate in that, but I built it that way. And that's what I'm showing other people to do. And some people say, well, she's telling you to do a national channel. I'm not telling you that. I don't, but people say that, I'm like, well, Kristina just has a more national channel image. And that's why blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you can change your channel into a income producing machine other than buying and selling houses. That's what I teach. I don't teach, you'll never see me telling you to do a moving in or living in type of video. There's more to YouTube than just that.
That's what's up. Well, tell us, how can the audience get a hold of your brain, your course, your program, and proximity to you?
All right. So, I have a big spirit of giving. So me and Joe Eves have this course. And before you moan at the price, we have a group coaching. It's 8 weeks and it's $3,000, but you get coaching for life. So even when you've completed the course after 8 weeks, you still get Joe and I that show up to the Zoom call to answer your questions personally. We actually scrub through your videos frame by frame, telling you exactly what you need to fix. And we're telling you throughout those videos, like how other ways you've dropped the ball on potentially earning more income. So yeah, it's realestatevideogeeks.com.
Awesome. We're going to drop that in the description below. Kristina, I always enjoy talking to you.
I talked my ear off. I'm so sorry. I was very passionate. I get heated. I hate when people get snowballed out of their money. Nothing makes me madder than people getting duped out of, because that happened to me. And I hate for that to happen. We live in a world that I think we get scammed out of money more than we get helped with the money that we've put into things. And it didn't used to be that way. And anybody can be an expert. But I just invite anyone to go ahead and take a look at my channel, take a look at my content, take a look at my numbers, and let me know if you think I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to YouTube.
Boom. Mic drop. Here we go. There it is. Awesome, Kristina. Well, thanks so much. We're going to link the program, your socials, and everything down below. Appreciate you always making time for me. And we'll talk to y'all soon.